Morning, everybody. I'm Ed Parcaut here with Bobby Atkins, and we are the Veterans Edition of Real Estate Jerky. I don't know if you saw that California came and have a budget now of like $288 billion, and we're only short $28 billion. Not a balanced budget, but a budget. And they're like, woohoo, we're so happy.
How do we go from a surplus to
because they lied?
100 billion off.
I don't want to get into the whole thing, but they lied. They knew before the election with the recall that we were negative $68 billion.
Yeah, well, I mean,
from a surplus.
That would have been a nail in the coffin for him, right?
Right, but they held it for a week until after the election. Anyway, we don't want our government is
selected, not elected.
Right? Yeah, and then he was this last weekend supposedly asked questions about I didn't know it was $24 billion that he'd spent on the homeless, and they want to know how come it's not better.
Because you can't fix someone's problem by throwing money at it.
Well, you can when you create a bunch of companies who can take that money and do other things with it.
Yeah, but you're
pay
not
salaries and pay this.
You're not going to cure addiction and solve the problem just by giving them,
money,
a place to live and some cash. I mean,
no, they need help. It's like the veterans who are homeless right now, and I'll talk since we're a veteran show, are dealing with PTSD, and the reason they're homeless is they can't stand to be inside. They're much rather be outside because it's less restrictive for them, and while they're dealing with so until they can deal with their PTSD, they're never going to get off the street.
That actually reminds me of a guest that I met at an open house the weekend before, 2 weekends ago. So I forget how it came up. It came up organically, right? But it was this younger couple, probably like in their early 30s, and they're looking for a house. And we had talked about the proximity to the mission being close by and things like that. And she said, "Oh yeah, actually I was homeless, and he was the security guard that kicked me out of the dumpster."
All right.
I was like, "Well, that's a cool story." And so they kind of told me more about how he helped her get back on her feet and stuff.
Oh, that's nice.
Yeah. Now they're looking to buy a house.
Look at that.
Yeah.
And again, it's, sometimes it's just someone needing a help up, and sometimes it's by choice.
Yeah.
But I think there's 10% that want to get help. Right. And the rest of them don't really care to get help.
Yeah. It's so easy to kind of look past these people. Right. But if you take just 20 seconds to talk to them, or even look at them, right? Like there's this one girl that I've seen for years now, and she is just beyond gone. But at some point in time, that was someone's little girl,
Right. But again, that has to do with sometimes drugs and sometimes mental illness. There's no place for them to get help anymore because of back in the 50s where they shut all the insane asylums down. That's when it started. It was JFK that started that closing of it. He didn't have a choice. He was sued. And so it took till Ronald Reagan closed it.
Well, yeah, I was going to say, his JFK's older sister was actually in an asylum, committed.
I didn't know that.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Like she had some kind of mental health issues. So they lobotomized her and then put her in an insane asylum.
Yeah. That really helps.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because then they're nothing. But the problem is and Reagan had to shut him down because he was getting sued and everything else. He didn't have a choice.
Yeah.
But they blame him. But no, it started way before him, but it's always the last guy.
Yeah.
Except the one that really isn't, that's his fault right now is Biden. It's his fault. I don't care what people say. If he would have done nothing, just got in and just sat there and go, let's just keep it the course it is, we'd be in a much better place.
Yeah.
But what are you going to do? I mean, they keep saying that, this Israel and God, that whole thing's going to be his Vietnam. No, Afghanistan was his Vietnam. This is just going to be the additional thing on top of it. And I know we're getting real off the subject and still real estate, but all this affects interest rates.
Yeah, the economy.
And what's going on in the economy, jobs, house prices, all that kind of stuff. Because when we hit a recession, which we're going to, values are going to continue to go up. And rates will eventually come down. The question is when. We have no idea. Your guess is as good as mine. But if we don't have a change in the election, this is the only thing I'm saying about the election. If we don't have a change, whether it's independent, Republican, Greenpeace, or something like that, it's just going to get worse because this administration doesn't have to make any changes. They think everything's going great because half the people want it that way.
Well, I was going to say, yeah, the emperor has no clothes, right?
Right. And it's more than half don't want it. The problem is you have the electrical, everybody wants to get rid of the electoral college, right? Okay. And that's just people who have a lot of population. I don't want to get rid of it, because then it was all be about popular vote, not statewide. 50. We have many states. We don't have one state or two states or three states. We have many states that vote, and it needs to be by state that you have this many. Because who wants to be in a country where it's all run by California?
Yeah, California and New York, right? So
yeah,
that's not fair.
And we don't need to the reason they put that in there is to make it so it was somewhat fair. They've learned how to manipulate it, but just like they know how to manipulate us in California, if we don't want something to pass, they make us say yes. So if they want a law to pass, they make us say no. Like we don't, you don't, and if you say no to a new law, then it really passes. You have to be very careful the way they do these phrases these days. But anyway, anything going on in real estate? That we took the first 5 minutes talking about everything else.
Well, I was gonna say, as of right now, man, I have everything in contract or closed, so I'm always looking to help someone list a house. If you have like a second home or a rental property, and you're looking to make a move, my parents have actually been talking to me lately about selling their place in Manteca, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so originally they wanted to move to Arizona to be close to my sister. Then they thought, well, maybe Tennessee, they'll be close to my other sister in Georgia, and they wouldn't be too far from our brother in Virginia. And now they've decided they probably want to stay here in California.
And why is that?
Well, just because majority of the grandkids are here, right? So they want to be close proximity. So here's the tricky part, though, right? Like Manteca, luckily, is a market that sells for a little bit more than Modesto does. So now what we got to do is we got to find them replacement property to pay.
Did they sell it?
Not yet.
Okay.
No.
Why are they selling it?
Well, because they've been in that house for 29 years. It's close to like a major intersection, and they're just looking for a change of pace, right? Like it's road noise, and it's close to the freeway, so it'd be a desirable property for someone who's a commuter. But they're looking for something a little more rural and
like rural, small like town. Jamestown,
maybe
Sonora.
Yeah.
Well, I'm just saying you're gonna to be able to. Because that's an expensive home compared to where it's located. Mm-hmm. To find something to replace it is going to be close to what they're going to sell it for.
Correct. Yeah. I mean, we're looking at Houston and places like that,
Are they free and clear, I hope?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So that's better. Yeah. I'm just, so that will, that makes it easier to do what they want to do. But it's because, and their their tax will transfer whatever it is they want. So that's the positive thing. But if they would have moved to some of those other states that you stated, the taxes wouldn't have stayed the same. What I mean by that is there's people who are been in their houses in Missouri and other places are bitching because their tax base is now $8,000 a year.
No kidding.
Yeah, because other states don't have the protection of Prop 13 like we do in California. And so those have been going. If you're in Texas, a lot of people who retire, and because of the amount of people who move there, can't afford their house anymore. And it's not the house, it's the taxes. They paid off the house and they can't afford the taxes. Yeah. So you have to be really careful where you move with what's going on with taxes. There was a thing right now they're trying to change in Florida about their document tax, which is when we sell here, we have a transfer tax, right? But if we do a refinance and don't change the ownership, nothing, there's no more cost, right? There's not a transfer tax or whatever. In Florida, there is. It's again how much. And it's not just. So they're trying to change it from redoing the total amount of the loan into whatever they added to the loan. Gotcha. I say they should just get rid of it as long as it didn't, because that's the difference. So Florida is amazing until you look in the little nitty gritty stuff and see that it's not as amazing.
Yeah.
I mean, don't get me wrong, it's a red state. So much nicer. They care about business.
Probably barely red. I mean, the government is red, right? But the populace is probably,
well, the blue people from the blue states moved there, and now it's changing the color. But they don't bring your politics if you're leaving California, is what everybody says.
I from what I've heard, Florida is just on the brink of being purple.
Yeah, I just think we all are in the middle. We need to get along, and we need to change how this government is. We need to put term limits, and then we'd be okay.
Yeah.
If you had term limits, nobody would put as much money towards lobbying these people as they have. Because with lobbying, they get 40 years out of these people.
Oh, for sure. No, it's the, like people always joke about the deep state, right? But I mean,
It's there.
yeah, the bureaucrats that just never leave, that are really the ones turning the wheels of the government.
Yeah, it's just like state of California. I mean, we talked about it. Was it today or last on Tuesday? We're about the budget. You know, how can you be? You're supposed to do a balanced budget. That means there's zero. When I did my Rotary budget, we were even. We were not negative $25. We weren't negative anything, and they did a budget of $288 billion, and they're negative $28 billion. Where are you going to get that money from? We'll just raise taxes.
Yeah, of course, right?
Because it's not their money.
Well, and the biggest thing is sometimes you got to tell people no, and you got to do the hard thing and cut jobs. And
well, they're cutting 10,000 jobs they weren't going to fill.
Yeah. So we were going to hire 10,000, but we'll get rid of those.
Why don't we get rid of there's so many things like let's waste $11 billion to build a 16 square feet of high-speed rail trail. Did you see that? The track that they built, it was only 1,600 feet, $11 billion.
See, I haven't heard anything about the bullet train.
Yeah, that's the part that they finished in 2018 that they were just recently so happy about, but the whole rest of the country are going, you guys are idiots.
That's all they ever completed was
1,600 square feet. 1,600 feet. Takes 5 minutes to walk.
Yeah.
$11 billion. And there's a little curve in it. I thought it was supposed to be straight. Anyway.
Well, I was going to say, I thought, was it Nancy Pelosi's husband, like firm involved in that and stuff?
Well, the question is, where'd the money go for that amount of concrete? That was not $11 billion of concrete.
Yeah.
And other stuff. It's like by the way, the homeless was 24 billion in the state of California, not 24 million. So where's that money? Where'd it go?
Yeah. Well,
all right, we're done.
Okay. Yeah, I'm getting angry now, man.
Yeah, just again, all I'm saying is get out and vote this time. Please get out and vote. You have to get out and vote, period. Unless you like what's going on right now, then don't.
If so, give this video a thumbs down.
Please do, so we know who I'm.
Yeah.
All right, make it a great day, Bobby. Thanks for being here.
All right, thanks, Ed.
All right.